Welcome into the Nashville Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, Jill Jelnick. Last week was part one of our episode with world-renowned figure skater Scott Hamilton. This week in part two, we dive in deeper to his battle with cancer and his impact here in Nashville, specifically the skating community. Take a listen. Scott, you alluded to your numerous battles with cancer. Mm-hmm. When you were first diagnosed with cancer in 1998, you were in many ways at the peak of your career. And after your mom had passed away after a 2-year battle with cancer, how much did that cancer diagnosis shape your perspective on life?
It changed everything for me. You know, it's like you get into a position, and we live in an entertainment town, right? If you get to a certain level of familiarity, and I'll just leave it at familiarity, the tail starts wagging the dog, right? You know, you become a servant to your career. Your life balance goes right out the window. You know, I was reminded of the fragility of life, not only with the loss of my mother, but in 1997, I was skating around the ice with a friend of mine named Sergei Grinkov. And he and his wife just won their second Olympic gold medal in 1994. They had a 3-year-old daughter who was just the light of my life. Just love this little girl. And we were talking, and we call them Dasha days because Daria was arriving that day. Their 3-year-old daughter was coming with the mother-in-law, the grandmother. And Sergei used to get so excited about Daria being around. And she was just our mascot. She was so much fun, so cute, so fun. And 5 minutes later, he's laying on the ice in the USA rink in Lake Placid. Gone. So now we have Katya and Daria, and Sergei's gone. And now what do we do? And so I was reminded so much of just how much life is so unpredictable and how we have to forge on. And so we rallied around Katya. She came back as a solo skater, still skating as a soloist. She's recently married David Peltier, who won a gold medal in men's figure skating, pair skating, in Salt Lake City. They're married, and they skated together a couple of years ago. And he's now the assistant coach at Dallas Stars. We tried to get him here. Couldn't do it. But, you know, she's coming solo again this year. But the next year I was diagnosed with cancer. And I realized that I was living life totally out of balance. My whole identity was skating. I just wasn't living life the way I should. And cancer and the fact that there was a modality of treatment for me gave me a second chance. And so I stepped away from the way I'd been living, and that came at a cost. I just needed to be still, be quiet, and figure things out. And just getting back on the road the next year, and 3 years to the day of my diagnosis, 3 years to the day of my diagnosis, I met a girl. And I didn't know. I just met her in Memphis. I thought she was a date of a friend of mine. I just went to say hi, and my heart jumped. And I felt, ooh, this is not right. This is my friend's date. This is like, I'm like this lech. It's like, I got to step away. So we talked for about 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, if I can meet someone like her, change everything. Friend told me that it wasn't a date, it was a guest, and that it was never going to be a date. It was just a friend. And ironically, she was moving to LA when I was living there. 3 weeks later, we go out, and we've been together ever since.
Tracie,
yeah. She's pretty well known in this community. She pours into a lot of young women, and she just loves the Lord, and she just is an incredible woman. Has seen me through 2 brain tumor diagnoses and treatments, and stood by my side, unconditionally throughout. And we had 2 children and adopted 2 more, and she's a warrior. She's a fighter. She's there to, fiercely guard her children and bring them up right. And it's been remarkable that when we started our family in LA, didn't want to raise our children here, ended up moving to Nashville. And we've been here 19 years and love this community and want to serve it well. And in that, Nashville is unique to a lot of other cities. It was a very small city when I moved here, and it's a very thriving and booming metropolis. I would say it was a B city when we moved here. Okay. A B market.
Yeah,
and now it's an A market.
Oh, completely, yes.
Yeah. And so watching it evolve, when we moved here, Broadway was Broadway, but it was a couple honky tonks and a lot of souvenir shops, and now it's its own identity. It's its own city, and to see, kind of how it's become a destination for, bachelorette parties and all the craziness, but also, its true identity, which is sometimes neglected as a healthcare community. I mean, you look at HCA, Vanderbilt, you look at Tennessee Oncology, what they are. You look at Sarah Cannon as being the greatest or biggest cancer treatment research entity maybe in the world. You look at Nashville as, it's hospitality and it's country music and it's that, but it's
that's not it. That's not it.
It's way more than that. And the healthcare community here is vibrant and incredible. And so partnering with, thanks to 3 orphan children in Haiti, Franklin, Tennessee has a proton therapy center. Wait.
How can you explain that for someone that doesn't exactly understand what that means?
All right. So the 3 orphan children are 2 children from Haiti. Their older brother was adopted to a family in Knoxville. Their brother, his grandfather, engineered and commercialized the first PET scan. Was re-engineering proton therapy. We get introduced. He says, we want to grow proton therapy. Where next? And I go, well, Nashville would be obvious. And he said, they have a 5-room facility, and they had one in Knoxville. Now, Nashville is a 3-room facility, state-of-the-art, everything amazing. Proton therapy is a very, very, very precise form of radiation therapy. So when you have traditional radiation, it's amazing what it does to the cancer. It sends energy into the body through a photon or X-ray beam. Like think of putting a flashlight against your hand and you see the light coming through. That's kind of how it goes through the body, releases its energy on the cancer, kills it, and then continues on into the body until it runs out of energy. So there is some collateral stuff going on. With proton therapy, it's different. It's a particle. So they're able to, through this process, take the proton out of a hydrogen atom. They split the atom. They send this proton through a cyclotron at 2/3 the speed of light. They shoot that through a tube, controlling it with superconducting magnets, and they're able to stop the proton subatomically in the tumor, or wherever they want to stop this proton. They stop it. And the second it stops, it wants to be a hydrogen atom so bad again that it disrupts the area. And that is a way of treating the cancer in the area, in the ecosystem of that tumor, without it passing through into healthy tissue. So it's a very precise way of treating the cancer. And we have one in Franklin, Tennessee. And that's where our foundation offices are. And when Provision owned the and built and developed the Proton Center, they were unable to make it financially work because reimbursement for proton therapy wasn't universal here in Tennessee. Most of the commercial healthcare insurance providers refuse to cover it. And it's such a shame because it is unique in the way that, let's say a woman with left breast cancer is treated, right? And then they do some radiation at the end. Well, then again, I describe the nature of it as it passes through, and when it runs out of energy, that's where it stops. So a woman can survive cancer, breast cancer, but develop heart disease because of left breast side. And so with proton therapy, the the peripheral, collateral, or surrounding area is pretty much left alone. And so that's the difference. It's a more precise form of treatment. It's a big difference. So I've had brain radiation, and it was baked my whole brain. So I can use that as an excuse or reason for behavior at times. Yeah. but it's like with now for my particular, what my brain tumors were, proton therapy is very precise, and it works really well to not impact healthy tissue. So there's so many ways, especially when cancer's in areas that are tight areas like throat, head, neck, whatever. And then, in areas where you don't want a lot of excess radiation, proton therapy is an elegant treatment for all of that. It's a difference between a hand grenade and a sniper.
That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference, right? So they lost the center to, and then Tennessee Oncology stepped in and took it over, and they're now able to grow it and manage it in a really unique way. So we were able to keep our offices there, and it's extraordinary. Again, but it's a phenomenal form of treatment for, again, prostate cancer. If I were to develop prostate cancer, and if I were a candidate for proton therapy, that would be my decision. Yeah. So again, it's extraordinary that it's right there on Carruthers across the street from the Williamson County Medical Center. Normally, it's only big cities, big centers can have proton centers, but it's miraculous that Franklin, Tennessee has one.
That's right.
And I hope people, in their journey, I tell people all the time, I don't believe in second opinions. Okay, I don't believe in second opinions. I believe in seventh opinions.
I like that. Yes.
So cancer's changing every day. And there's no way for one doctor to know all the different modalities. And plus, I always would joke, I have a Murphy's Law poster, always Murphy's Law. And one of them is where you stand on something depends on where you sit. So that's true in cancer. Where you stand in your treatment, in many respects, depends on where you sit. If you're sitting across from a surgeon, that's their training, that's their passion, you're going to get cut, right? If you're sitting across from a radiation oncologist, you're probably going to get radiated. If you're sitting across from a hemonc, right, hematological oncologist, you're probably going to get infused. So the best thing to do is get as many opinions as you can possibly get educated on your options, and then choose one that really suits you and the one that you feel is best for your overall well-being and for your length of life and for hopefully eradicating the cancer out of your body.
And that's what the CARES Foundation strives to do every day.
We're all in elevating research that treats the cancer and spares the patient harm. So we really put our stake in the ground for immunotherapy and targeted therapies. We want the snipers. We want treatment options that only go after the cell, the bad cell, and then leaves the rest of the ecosystem alone. And immunotherapy, 3 years after we put our stake in the ground, the first drug hit the market, and now it's expanding like crazy. And so we're optimistic. Like, I never thought I would live to see a day where no one died of cancer, but now I'm more optimistic than ever that using these platforms, these modalities, and harnessing the power of the immune system, that we will be able to create a future where no one dies of this disease anymore. But it's still, the science is way up here, and
close the gap.
And the funding is still way down here. We just need, and that's only going to take the A in CARES is alliance. We have to grow our army, and we have to build it strong and dedicated. And once we're able to collaborate with all these different centers of excellence, we'll be able to see people live their full lives without collateral damage. I was told after my cancer I'd have 20 years before things would start to unravel. And that was 97. So we're coming up on 20, at the end of 28 years, on 29 of survivorship. And I'm still good. I'm still able to work out.
You look like you could hit the ice rink right now.
Oh, funny. It's funny. When you say that, you look great. So Dick Button survived all these head injuries and all these different things. And I saw him at a Nationals. And I thought, Dick, you look great. And he said, thanks a lot. And I was like, wait, you have to explain to me what I just said. That was an insult. He goes, there's only 3 phases of life: youth, middle age, and you look great.
And you look great. That's good. That's pretty good. I need to remember that one. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with world-renowned figure skater Scott Hamilton. We'll be right back after this. Scott, it's crazy just hearing you talk about your battles with cancer. Not one, not two, three different brain tumors.
Well, it actually, the third one was different.
And that was 2016.
Yeah. So it was like a pattern emerged, right?
Yeah.
2004, brain tumor, treated with gamma knife radiation.
Mm-hmm.
2010, brain tumor, treated with surgery. It didn't go well. I had 9 surgeries, brain surgeries that summer. And then 6 years later, 2016, I'm in a scheduled scan, and they go, it's back. And I'm like, okay. And they go, we're going to give you options. And so I'm, okay. So the whole time they give me options, all I feel, and it's like nothing like this has ever happened to me before, overwhelmingly, and I'm a person of faith, I just felt this almost voice, but it wasn't audible, saying, don't worry about this, just get strong. I was like, what? So they gave me a surgical option. And because I had surgery, it didn't go well. It was going to be a little more complicated. So I listened. I said, thank you. And then they bring in a medical oncologist. And he said, there's a new targeted therapy that works on your brain tumor to shrink it. It won't get rid of it, but it'll shrink it so it won't do its mischief. So that's your other option. And then both doctors came in and they go, what do you think? And I said, I think I'm going to go home and get strong. And they said, what does that look like? And I said, I have no idea. I'm going to go home and get strong. And so I got home and it's like, do I get strong physically? Do I get strong mentally? Like, do I get strong emotionally? Do I get strong spiritually? So I did what I did in high school. I chose E, all the above. And I went back for a scan. It was 3 months later. They said, good news. I go, what? He goes, it hasn't grown. I'm like, huh, interesting. So I went back 3 months later. Good news. I go, oh, it hasn't grown. They go, no, it shrank 45%. And I asked the doctor, I go, can you explain this? And he went, God. So I went back again, shrank another 25%. Then it grew, shrank, and it grew, and it shrank. So during COVID, it was such a hard time getting in to get scanned. And I just said, you know what? I'm good. Unless I get symptomatic again, I'm not going to give it any power over me anymore. And I was reading my Bible, and Jesus said, love the Lord with all of your strength, all of your heart, all of your mind, and all of your soul. Get strong. Get strong. So in that, I just feel like there was some sort of beautiful intervention that happened where now's not my time to have to worry about these things. Now's my time to keep working, keep telling everybody that God is good all the time. And Jesus came here very specifically to bring us all back. So pay attention to that. Meantime, get strong in every way you possibly can get strong, and just educate yourself. We're all susceptible to countless unbelievable things, fragile. We're also equally resilient, but we're ultimately temporary. So living in the tension of all of that is kind of where life lives. And as long as we can understand that we're fragile and we're resilient and temporary, let's get as much sand in the hourglass as we possibly can. And a lot of that is just, making good choices about what you put in your body, making good choices about how active you are, and making good choices about how you manage stress, and really just stepping into a beautiful relationship with an unconditional love that is beyond anything we could possibly ever imagine. So get strong. ladies and gentlemen. Get strong.
And remember, we only have one life to live.
One life to live.
You said that earlier, and it reminded me of one of my favorite quotes, Scott, and I'm sure you've heard this before. We have two lives, but the second one begins when we realize we only have one life. Mm-hmm. I think I said that right. I hope I didn't butcher that. Mm-hmm. But hearing your journey and everything you've been through, even as a child, when you were adopted and you had your mystery illness and how much adversity you had to overcome then. Your story is full of tough, challenging, painful moments that you eventually overcame and had so many blessings as a result.
They're all blessings. Now, and think about it. I stopped growing for 4 years, and they could never diagnose what was wrong with me, right? So 2004, I'm diagnosed with a brain tumor, right? They go in and do a biopsy, put a hole in my head, went down, grabbed a piece of it, came back. They said a lot of really bad things could happen in that biopsy. Thank goodness they didn't. So they hand my wife a sheet of what the brain tumor is. And in that sheet, it says the title of the brain tumor. It's called a craniopharyngioma. Not a word, a lot of syllables.
Yep. Don't ask me to spell that.
Which are usually detected early in a child's life due to a lack of growth and development.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So why didn't it do its mischief all those years that I skated? And why did it only kick in when I stopped? Who knows?
Who knows?
But without that brain tumor, all those things that happened wouldn't have happened.
So how am I going to be mad at it?
Yes, how am I going to be mad at it? Yes. And with cancer was that fork in the road. Mm-hmm. Yogi Berra says when you get to the fork in the road, take it. But in that, it was like I had to take a long, hard look. And I needed to step away from what I was doing and live more intentionally and live better. I was living a life of fame and fortune, and nothing puts you in touch with your dark side faster than fame or money. Ask anyone. Ask everyone that's been through it. Mm-hmm. Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, you remember the Bee Gees?
Yeah.
So Barry Gibb had a quote that I heard that was really remarkable, and it gave me some a gust of wind in my sails. He said, if you can survive first fame, you're probably going to be okay.
But if you don't survive that first fame,
it'll crush you in every way possible. It'll destroy you. Mm. And you see, this town, you've seen all the failed marriages, the substance abuse. It's just unnatural for people to live with that kind of familiarity and that much money, And so in my own way, I was kind of living that. And cancer redeemed me and I'm still a work in progress. I don't pretend to be redeemed. I'm working on it hard, and I know I have a lot to rise above. But in that, there's intention, and there's this beautiful thing that cancer put me at the foot of the cross, and it also introduced me to a woman who was going to guide me in every way possible. And in gratitude, I say I never would have met her had it not been for cancer. And she had almost given up on meeting, someone to spend her life with. It's that hard thing of living in California. She moved back to Tennessee to meet a nice guy, and she met me in Memphis, and then she got all these calls, from her old boss saying, come back to LA. We'll pay for your move. We'll give you a bonus. We'll do all these things. We need you here. So she moved back, and I was waiting for her. And now 4 kids later and living in Nashville, it's just been such a incredible journey, but every dot connected. And not all of them were, these sparkling little shiny dots, Some of them were black and evil looking, but they all do their work. And so I just try to encourage people, today's a day. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do with it? And we live our days. Some days are great. Some days are rough. Nobody gets through this life without dings. Yeah. Ever. Mm-hmm. And, I learned that, as human beings, we take our failures and we collect them. We put them in a bag and we put them over our shoulder and we carry them with us. And after you live enough life, that bag gets pretty heavy. And what I learned through baptism is I was able to drop the bag. And I still have those memories, but I don't have to carry them as scars. Scars are beautiful. I have so many scars. And when I get ready in the morning, I always open the curtains because we live, out, nobody can look into our face. But the light hits my scars. And it's like, wow, those are badges of honor. They're not disfigurements. And scars are where, do you realize when you break a bone, a chemical is released there that knits that bone stronger than it's ever been, so it'll never break there again? Do you realize that?
I had no idea.
Scars, when you have a scar, that's tissue that is so much stronger than what was there before. It's not a disfigurement. You're now stronger. So every bone I've ever broken is stronger than it's ever been. Every scar I ever had replaces that tissue with something where it'll never, ever, ever be impacted the way it was before. And that could be looked upon negatively or positively, right? Mm-hmm. I look upon it as, no, I'm stronger now. I'm better than I was there. And yeah, it doesn't look the same, but somehow it's an upgrade. Yeah. But again, that's by dropping the bag. Mm-hmm. I have all those memories, and I joke about them now. Falling 5 times in a 3-minute program, my first nationals, and coming in dead last in front of 17,000 people. I laugh at that now, and I go, wow, that was really formative. What's worse than that?
Yeah, that's a great point.
I know, I can win the Olympics. All right, now I have a chance.
Whatever's next, I'm ready. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with Scott Hamilton. We'll be right back after this. Scott, before we let you go, I appreciate your time so much, but I do want to touch on the impact that you've had here in Nashville, because without a doubt, easily one of the biggest Nashville game changers, especially when it comes to figure skating and ice sports. You've helped grow this community. I also know you have some new things in the works.
Well, I don't know. It's evolving, and it's skating is an interesting sport, because it's equally athletic as it is dramatic.
That's a great way to describe it.
It's artistic and it's athletic. And so, I don't know, there's a lot of things going on, changes that are happening. And I really would love to see this community come together, all the rinks work together as one unit and really be able to present opportunities for skaters to thrive, and there's been some changes, and I think it's evolving in ways, and I think change for a lot of people brings uncertainty, and so in that I just all I want is the best for everybody, and I see Centennial as the foundation of everything that's been here.
It's a big part of it.
And A game was there. That's where I skated when I moved to town. It went away, and then Antioch was the next double surface rink that was built, and a happy place, a building learned to skate, and just watching it thrive and be such a blessing to that community. And then Bellevue. It's as nice a rink as I've ever seen anywhere.
Wednesday night, I'm on an adult hockey league in Bellevue.
There you go.
I love it. It's a beautiful facility.
It's a spectacular facility.
It's always packed with families and kids, teenagers, and then adults like myself playing late at night. I love those ice rinks because it's such a visual representation of anyone, any age can skate at any time.
Absolutely. And Nolensville. Not many people know much about Nolensville.
Yeah.
So, it's gone through, Skating Academy was there, and in Clarksville as well. that changed.
That's right.
That changed, and it's under different leadership now. So I'm not really a part of that anymore, and I'm really trying to be, if somebody has concerns, they call me. Of course, they're going to call me, and I really love to see everything be seamless, one big happy family. It's never been the way skating has been in the past. So I think it just comes down to Nashville is a very small, very tight-knit community. It's a small, as we say, it's got small town accountability with big city amenities. So in that, I would love to see, again, hockey is consolidating around junior preds. There's a lot. There's still the Flyers. There's still other programs. That's fine. We can all get on, but it just comes down to everyone having their piece of the pie and everybody working together. We have 2 skating clubs. There's the Nashville Figure Skating Club, which has been here for a long time. Music City Skating Club became the Scott Hamilton Skating Club, and they've got 300 members, and it's a big club. So it's great to be able to put up your banner and to do all those things. I would love to see everybody come together, and again, there's growing pains and there's some newness to the market where there's going to be some dust settling. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I served the Predators when we had the skating academy in Bellevue and in Antioch as a volunteer. It was great. They give me the building for Scott Hamilton and Friends, which is a nice trade-off and everything else. But now things are changing and they're moving in a new direction, and I'd love to be a source of help. I don't want to be divisive. I don't want to be anything else. So time will tell how, because coaches, it's a different dynamic than in other sports. If you have the Nashville Predators, you have one coach and you have assistant coaches, right? Chain of command, right? Tennessee Titans, one coach, a lot of assistant coaches. Here, you've got a lot of head coaches.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And they have a lot of different ways of teaching, and I'd love to see everybody just consolidate.
Yeah.
And again, where there's change, there's trepidation, which can border on fear, which can create panic, which can do a lot of things. And the last thing I want is for anything in this community to be fractured. So again, we've gone. The skating academy with my name no longer exists, except in Clarksville. I don't know how long that's going to last. Again, that's okay. I'm here to serve. Yeah. But again, there's going to be some fear and some possibly fear can become animosity depending on how it's channeled. And I just really want everybody to win.
Everybody wins.
I
just
always
want everybody to win.
I always, and one of my competitors would never, I always wish my competitors good luck.
Because you above all people, you hate losing.
Well, I know. And if I win, I want to win because I was the best, not because somebody skated terrible.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, that makes sense.
One of my competitors would never wish anyone luck. He said, I want to win no matter what. And it's like, So first night we had it with Stars on Ice in Denver. He was on the cast. And I'm backstage. I'm opening show. I'm scared to death. And he came back to the tunnel. He goes, good luck.
Good luck. Good luck.
So I want everybody to win.
Well, regardless of the future of figure skating here in Nashville and the hands it falls into, I want to say thank you. I'm how grateful this city is that you and Tracie and your beautiful family moved here
thank you.
Way back when and helped create such a wonderful skating culture here. We have been so blessed with everything you've done with the CARES Foundation, and of course, don't forget Sunday, November 23rd, Scott Hamilton and Friends.
I need you there. I need you there so bad.
Are you going to be on the ice as well? Are we going to see one of your famous
last
routines?
Last year, Kurt Brown taught me into something, but I didn't invite him back this year. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. No, Kurt's in retirement mode, and I've got 6 guys in the show this year, which is the most I've ever had. So I can't imagine a scenario that would allow. I never say never anymore. I say I can't imagine a scenario that would allow. Yeah. But last year when I was putting the set together, I thought, Run, Rudolph, Run. Yeah, I could do something there. So Scott, that was fun.
Scott, I have to ask you, of your entire career, do you have an all-time favorite performance or competition?
Yeah, Gold Championship in 1994.
Wait a minute. That's not, hold on, 94. Is that, oh, I can see it. Wait, walk this way. Walk this way. Yeah, oh my God, that's one of my favorite performances of yours. So that's right.
I wasn't supposed to be at that event. I got invited as an alternate. And I won the competition, which was never supposed to happen. But my whole anytime I would go into a professional competitive situation, I didn't care if I won. I just wanted to win the crowd.
Oh, you did that so often,
So
Scott.
that night, it was I stayed up and waited for the sun to come up because I didn't want that day to end. And it was the best night of skating I've ever had. And it was unexpected. And I worked hard to get there. And it was the best night ever. And so in that, I've had a lot of great nights, and I don't want to dismiss or diminish any, but that one was special.
What inspired that song, Walk This Way?
I just love rock and roll. Yeah. Aerosmith was my second concert
that's
ever.
Right. You named your heroes. A lot of them classic rock. Yeah.
My first concert was Bachman Turner Overdrive. Second one was Aerosmith. And so when Walk This Way happened, I thought, that's a cool song. So I said it to my choreographer, and she goes, I love it. Let's go. Let's do it. And so we had all these different
Say
walks.
less.
It was so fun. I almost gave up on it because it was a little too difficult with the steps.
Oh, no, it was wonderful.
But once I did it and I got the response from the crowd, I thought, okay, this will work.
Yep. Yeah. Scott, thank you so much for your time. Scott Hamilton and Friends, Sunday, November 23rd, Bridgestone Arena. We want to fill Bridgestone Arena.
Bring the family.
Bring the family.
So
bring
fun.
the kids. It's going to be a magical night. Scott,
so
thank you so much. You, my friend, are a Nashville game changer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for our new guest. And also be sure to check us out on social media and YouTube. And when you're there, please like and subscribe.